Hello, hello. Happy 2026. This holiday season is finally wrapping up, and I've done a lot of media production, but more media consumption than I would have liked. So I'd like to tell you about what I saw, what I watched, and otherwise experienced. So, movies. Let's start off with some movies. SpongeBob. This was actually really good this year. It's just like the cartoons, nice and silly. Lots of shenanigans. Hello, sunshine. And it's a one and done for sure, but it somehow beat out all the other movies at the time. Housemaids and Avatar, Fire and Ash, of all things. So that was exciting. A24 really turned up this year. I watched 2 films from them over the holiday season. Eternity is the first. Basically, you get to choose what your afterlife is for the rest of eternity. And it's a really good film for discussion. Because not only are you at this train station choosing where to go, and there are so many worlds and possibilities out there, but there's a question of who you would want to spend your time with. And in this case, the dilemma becomes, would you wait for your loved ones, whether that be your family members or the person you're married to, or in this case, the people you're married to, your former husband who died and your current husband who you died with? Would you try and live the life of your dreams with your former husband? Would you stick with what you have and what you know? Would you try to do both? Would you try to do neither? There's a lot of ways this can go. And I would highly suggest bringing a friend to watch this, or streaming it or something. Some way discussing this film. It is awesome. On top of that, they also came out with Marty Supreme. This is a ping pong movie where you have the rising star, the American star in the 1950s, just barely edge out almost all of the competition and beat everyone, except for the fact that there's this Japanese machine of a player who is underhanding everything and using this brand new paddle, and he's just a brick wall. You can't beat him. So theoretically, this would, if this was a normal sports movie, you would just watch a montage of training for 2 hours and whatnot. This goes a completely different way. This is a film where I felt more stress than I probably have ever felt in 2 hours, where Marty is running away from the police, and he is stressing all of the relationships and breaking the bonds of so many people, not just himself and them, but between family members, between old high school friends, tugging at the hearts of rich people and pulling on their heartstrings with sob stories about his pregnant sister, things like that. There is a lot that he does to try to make $1,500 to go to the World Championships and reface his opponent in the end. And it's a gorgeous film for that, as explicit as it is. So, A24, well done. Lastly, some video games. Borderlands 4. This is mindless. You get to shoot things. It's great. But it doesn't run on any PC at all. So you got to get GeForce Now to play it. I got it for a month, the ultimate subscription. It was like $10. And, now I can't play it anymore. It was your standard Borderlands game. The story was not that great. The shooting was fun, and all the looting is exciting. But it's probably only good for one playthrough. And I'm glad I spent the time that I did with it. But, again, not worth your money. Okay. Hades 2, on the other hand, is worth your money. And if you haven't played Hades 1, you should start with it. It is a fantastic dive into Greek mythology. And if you do end up really enjoying Greek mythology, I would also recommend listen to the audiobook Mythos. Mythos is all about the origin of the Titans and then the Olympians and all the mortals that followed them, and how all of this came to be according to the Greeks. I've spent probably 8 to 10 hours listening to it. I got kind of bored at the mortals part, but to each their own. Keep going. You'll learn about all the characters within Hades, maybe except for like Dionysus or something like that. Okay, on top of that, what else have I been doing? Well, there's some topical novels that I've been reading, one of which is Isaac Asimov's The Naked Sun. This is really topical towards AI coming out and being such a prevalent force in turning off our brains. So, I mean, obviously he's written this in 1957 or so, and all they're talking about is robots. But there's this idealized society on the planet of Solaris, which is an idealized version of Earth, right? Just 20,000 people. People are chosen based on genetics, and everyone has a bunch of land, lots of prosperity, and lots of health and wealth, right? Lots of robots to tend to them and all of their desires and needs. One of the visionary things, surface level, that Asimov talks to is the notion of viewing people. We don't really, during COVID, for example, we just Zoom called everyone, right? And that's what everyone does, except they have, instead of like a static camera angle like this, they can like fly around people's houses and, just sort of view anything they want instead of seeing people and touching them in person, right? And in that idealized society, you have got a lot of stagnation almost, because Solaris has undergone the specialization in robotics, and they have robots for quite literally everything they need. People don't really learn their professions nearly as well. So, for example, there's a poisoning that happens during the novel. The doctor isn't very well equipped to actually take care of the patient because he hasn't seen a poisoning in 200 years. With the idealized society, like, nobody's actually going and poisoning people and committing murders. And no one's really transmitting bacteria. Everything's being disinfected all the time. Okay, maybe that's something that our current AI can deal with these days, so it's not like one-to-one applicable. But that throws in other possibilities, like, okay, you're a detective. Well, since the robots are handling all the cleaning and all the annoyances that you would normally take care of, you don't actually learn you don't learn the procedures or follow the right procedures of a criminal case, because, well, the robots are just going to sweep everything under the rug as soon as the person gets murdered, right? Everything's got to be clean for your master, so, what's the point in leaving all this evidence around for the detective? And, I mean, you can go ahead and extend all this. I do think that this brings up a thing where the rote memorization and rote work that you would want to do that you wouldn't want to do and you would want to have AI automate away should be something that you still experience and do every so often. Learning certainly is something that we should all take care to do without AI and assistance and just watching. You have to learn by doing. So, specialization, I would say, is not necessarily our strongest suit. Or at least it's not the one thing that we should be focused on all the time, as much as it can be useful in some comparative advantage ways. We should learn to cook, to clean as individuals. But on top of that, even as a society, we should invest into, manufacturing domestically. I will say one thing that is good about Trump's tariffs is that he is encouraging people to manufacture here again. We have a very, very heavy reliance on chips for AI in Taiwan, right? But like even before that, when we were just creating the service economy as well as the tech firms that surround us these days, we basically moved all the manufacturing away, outsourced a lot of our tech support, for example, in favor of just having these tech firms. So now we DoorDash food, and like one meal's worth of fees would cover basically an entire person's salary abroad for a year. And that's kind of crazy that inflation just allows us to do that, and our specialization allows us to do that. So we kind of avoid a lot of struggles that those people would have, but at the same time, we could just be saving so much by having a base level of knowledge, right? That would let us shop on our own, for example, and, cook and clean on our own back home domestically. Anyway, I get into a lot of it's thought-provoking. It's a great read. I finished it in 2 days. It was just, I was speeding through. I was walking and reading. It was incredible. But the other piece of media that basically touches on the same thing and has just finished for its first season is Pluribus. Carol, the main character, is immune to the effects of AI, let's say. I won't spoil anything because this is a Vince Gilligan show that is separate from the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul universes that he's known for, but it has the same level of brilliance, and I can't wait to see where he goes with it. With that, I think I will conclude and let you watch all of these things and experience them for yourself. They are all awesome, and I'm glad that I spent a little bit of time with them over the holidays. I am excited to continue making videos, making music, and maybe even consuming some of this media throughout 2026. So pop in some recommendations so I can get some inspiration, and I'll see you soon. Have a great rest of the year.